All right, here I am on my 2024 AR250. Just hit 100 hours. It's about a year old, maybe 13 months. So we've been using it. And today I'm gonna go over the oil change and greasing the intermediate bearings. Also, I want to show you, I changed the oil 11 hours ago. That was last fall, so I just wanted new oil to sit in it through the winter time. We're in Maryland, so about a 5-month cold winter. So it doesn't need an oil change, but I'm going to do the oil change anyways, so I get back on the 100 hours, 150, 200 hour, even oil change intervals. All right, here's the engine compartment at 100 hours. So the intermediate shaft bearings are there, and they require greasing at 10 hours. Well, they require being filled with grease at 10 hours. It takes 33 to 35 cc's of grease. They come empty from the factory. They want the factory to do it at 10 hours. So I filled mine at 10 hours using this method here with a syringe, where you pull the hose off. You can see the hose there. And I injected 30 cc's of grease in. The hose also comes with no grease in it. You stick your grease gun on the Zerk fitting there, it has the rubber cap on it, and you fill your hose up with grease because there's no grease in the hose. And then you install it back on so it looks back like this. And then you do a couple more pumps of grease with your grease gun here. And then you have a filled intermediate shaft bearing. And then at the 100-hour mark, they want you to put a couple more cc's of grease in there. So I wanted to pull mine apart and see how many cc's of grease were in there. So I disassembled it so I could stick a piece of plastic down in there and see how much grease was in there. And I'm also going to pump all the old grease out of the hose. It's been in there for about a year, and fill it with new grease. So I got the blue Lucas Oil Marine grease in there, and that's how you do it. Here we go. Okay, so a second ago I said I was going to pump all the old grease from this hose that I just disconnected from the intermediate shaft bearing. I said I was going to pump it all out and pump it full of fresh grease. However, just did it like 5 pumps, and the grease looks brand freaking new, just like I did it 100 hours ago. So I'm not going to pump all the grease out of this hose. I'm just going to hook it back up and do a couple pumps in the shaft seal there, or the intermediate shaft bearing, and we'll call it a day. All right, so here's my scientific method on how I'm going to check and see what the grease looks like from 100 hours ago. So I got the barbed nipple off. I'm going to stick this in there very soft until it hits the bottom, okay? And I'll pull it out. So it's still full of grease, and the grease looks good. Oh, let's pull it back up here. All right, so I'm probably gonna follow the directions and do 6, I believe it says 6 to 11 cc's of grease into the intermediate shaft bearing. All right, so my other grease gun that I knew did 0.5 cc's decided to shit the bed, and it doesn't want to pump anymore. So now I got my bigger one. I don't know exactly how much this pumps out. It's definitely more than 0.5 cc's. So I just did 5 pumps with this, and I just pulled the hose back off, and there is a little bit squirting out. So it's either full of grease or there's air pressure in there. I also started the engines up and ran it for 10 seconds to hopefully agitate into the air. So no more squirting out there. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume this guy's good to go for the season. 100-hour maintenance complete. onto the starboard engine. Okay, so I have the hose removed and I have the nipple pulled off. The barb nipple, it's a 7mm. So I wanted to see what the bearing and grease look like from 90 hours. So I spilled a lot of grease when I pulled the hose off. There's some pressure on it. All right. I mean, it looks good. Doesn't look milky, watery, oily. So I'm gonna reassemble it and put probably 2 to 5 pumps in there using this grease gun. And I'll consider the 100-hour intermediate shaft bearing greasing complete. All right, intermediate shaft bearings are greased, the 100-hour mark. Now I have the oil extractor set up and I'm gonna suck the oil out, replace the oil filters and fill it back up with oil using what I've used every time is this oil change kit. Pretty expensive for what you get, but it's nice because it comes with everything. Lesson learned, do not trust this funnel because they suck and you'll end up spilling oil everywhere. All right, just about got it all out. Takes 2.8 quarts. Start to see the air bubbles coming through there. Next up, let it suck a little bit more. A couple more pumps. And then we'll do the oil filter. And then we'll fill her back up. Alright, so for the past 3 oil changes, I've just manhandled these oil filters off. And boy, oh boy, is it hard. So today, I have an oil filter wrench from Harbor Freight. Oh my God. The right tool for the job, baby. And I'm gonna fast forward this for you guys. All right, I always just pour a tiny bit of oil in the new oil filter. I don't know if that's what you're supposed to do, but that's what my dad taught me. So that's what I'm rolling with. All right, so I have the old oil filter broken loose. I got the new oil filter box staged. So I'm gonna loosen it up, try not to spill the oil, drop it in the box. Then I'm gonna grab the new oil filter and screw it on. Let's give it a try. And spilling some oil. And that's how you do it, my friends. Oh. All right, so now all this guy sucking out will fill this engine. And I'll skip to the end for you guys. All right, this engine's done. I just checked the dipstick. It's about 3/4 on the dipstick. I put in 2.8 quarts, so 8 ounces left. On this guy, 8 ounces left. So, and sorry about that fan noise, keeping the dog cool. But finishing sucking the oil out of the starboard engine, and I pre-staged some paper towels down in the bilge in case I spill some like I did on this side when I pulled the oil filter off. And once I replace the oil filter, fill it with 2.8 quarts of oil, I'll be done. Phone has 1% battery life, so it's the last video, but thanks guys for following along. This is what your 100-hour maintenance looks like. Pretty freaking simple. Do it yourself. Good luck.